Good morning. Welcome to the Treasure Coast Unitarian Universal Congregation in Stuart, Florida. Today is a special day, July 17th, 2022. We'll tell you why later. My name is Ronnie Dembowski, and I will be your worship associate today. We are a welcoming congregation. We welcome people of all gender identities, ethnicities, I never can say that word, ages and backgrounds. It is wonderful to see all our vaccinated members and friends in the sanctuary today. We are also on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. To be put on our mailing list or to find out more information about us, you can go to our website at tcuuc.org. Note that there is a link to request the online newsletter. At this time, please silence your cell phones. Thank you. I don't believe we have any visitors today, so I won't ask anybody to come up to the mic. Everybody looks familiar. We have a few announcements before we start with the service. Please join us on the first third Tuesday at Stewart Memorial Park in downtown Stewart at noon for our brown bag lunch. It's a lot of fun, a lot of people show up, and it's nice conversation. Our book club meets through Zoom every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. The current book is My Brilliant Friend. See or email John Morn for more information. Reverend Bob meets by Zoom on Fridays at 11 a.m. to discuss current events. Let him know if you would like to join the discussion, and he will give you the Zoom link. And I'm not sure there is one this Friday.
It's on break.
It's on break because Reverend Bob is going on vacation, but in the future. We also are doing a special get-together instead of our Thursday get-together for cocktails and appetizers. We're trying to get a group together to go to the ACT Studio Theater on Ocean Boulevard to see Much to Do About Nothing, because our own Joe Genicaro is in the show. We are hoping to get a group together to go to the matinee on August 7th at 3 o'clock. We will go out to dinner afterwards at Florentina's, which is right near the show. Please let Bob know, Reverend Bob know, if you are interested in going and if you've gotten your tickets and if you're going to come to dinner. A big thanks to those who helped with the service today, our wonderful Jackie Robbins for the music, our greeters and ushers, which I forgot to get, our host, Karina Poloni, and our tech whiz, Chris McGann. Also, Judy Bajaris is done the coffee and cookies, because the regular people are not here right now. Jackie will now play the prelude. Thank you, Jackie. That was beautiful. Bob MacDonald, our wonderful Reverend, will now light the chalice as I say a few words. For the gift of this day, for our community of spiritual nurture and compassion, we give thanks. We light the chalice as a symbol of our faith. May our many sparks meet and merge in communion of the heart and soul, by Bruce Southworth. My opening words are by Emma Merchant, and she is a UU youth from Ohio, and these just struck me as very lovely. I have never been particularly attached to the idea of family. Do you know the Swiss Family Robinson? It's the story of how a family worked together and survived. It never reached beyond a story for me. It never occurred to me that some people actually felt this way towards their bloodline, that the lineage was sacred. To me, it always seems the blood could be spilled. I have always felt that when people identify family as something important and universal, what they are truly addressing is unconditional love. This is not to say that I hate the idea of family, but I've always been more enchanted by the idea of chosen family. The thought that we are each making a choice to be here in this family, in this community, is powerful. We have actively chosen to come and be here. I'm not stuck with you because you're my cousin, and I'm not allowed to be rude. I can leave if I want to, but I don't, because the way we are, we have each other nurtured this community. I chose to be stuck with you, for better or worse. And we have continually made this choice over and over. Every day we attend worship, every time we attend worship, every time we donate our time and energy, every time we clasp hands in meditation, is a promise. I'm here for you. The DNA of this community may be metaphysical, forget it, but it exists within me. The words convent and right relations are second nation, placed on my tongue almost since birth, but they are words that I have chosen to bring into my life. My heart beats with the blood of this church, pounding out, I choose you, I'm here. This is a safe space, a place of learning, a place of compassion, a space created by the very idea of love. We choose to build a sanctuary because we choose to be together. There is no use for a church of people who hate each other or a church of ghosts. We make the choice to stick together even when we don't even want to be in the same room. But we always come back to the table because we choose to be together. Through thick and thin, we have chosen love. And in hard times, struggling times, times that we face every day, we come together even closer. We make the choice to listen to each other. We make the choice to pick each other up. And we make the choice to love each other. We have built this community with our commitment to that love. We all have many different reasons for being here, but I like to think that we all have one common reason for being here, love. Over everything else, we are here because we are people who choose love. We do not have bloodline, but we have a deep, unconditional love that runs through all of us. We choose that love. We choose each other. Our hearts echo, I choose you, and I'm here, and I'm here, and I'm here. I thought that was pretty great for a youth. Now we will have hymn 16, 'Tis a Gift.
We sing it twice.
Sing it twice.
You let me know if it's too loud.
Let us now recite our affirmation, speaking the first words and then singing the second in our masks. Love is the spirit of this church, spiritual law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
This is our time to share matters of joy and sorrow. We hope that as you let us know about yours, you will know that you are being heard and supported. We ask that they be personal and that they be brief. We'll start out today with two joys, because it's Pat's birthday and Fred Dembowski's birthday. Now, Fred.
Yes, sir.
Last week, Bill Falk talked about a birthday that you could visualize with two snowballs. He didn't want to say how old that meant. Is yours a snowball birthday, Fred?
Wait a minute, she distracted me. Could you say that again?
Never mind. I know Pat's isn't. Other matters of joy or sorrow. Where's Judy? Judy, you going to tell us about your husband, how he's doing?
I'm just going to say he's doing well, but there's a big decision today, and I'm going to propose moving him to an assisted living.
He's still struggling, and I hope you're feeling our support, because we certainly want to support you. Good. Anyone else?
Could you put two more stones in, or did you do them already?
I do.
Linda.
I want to thank Ronnie for the nice sharing on us making choices. This church has made a choice to participate in a project in Indiantown. It's a service committee project, which we've been doing since last November, and I just wanted to let you all know that we are still helping the family. It's called, as the Unitarians do, it's called CAPAS, Congregational Accompaniment Project for Asylum Seekers. And they're a wonderful family. It's Magdalena, who was separated from little Maria at the border in 2017. Maria's 11, she was 6 at the time. And she's 11 now, doing really well. Last time I was out there, she was at the beach. They're a big, loving, wonderful family. So just wanted to let y'all know that we still want to do an ongoing support of them, kind of as our participation in UUSC. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm just putting a stone in for Linda.
Well, if there is no one else, we move a stone for those we haven't mentioned out loud, but we know we always have more on our minds and hearts than we say out loud. For the meditation, this by Thich Nhat Hanh, from the back of our hymnal. Let us be at peace with our bodies and our minds. Let us return to ourselves and become wholly ourselves. Let us be aware of the source of being common to us all, into all living things. Evoking the presence of the great compassion, let us fill our hearts with our own compassion toward ourselves and toward all living beings. Let us pray that we ourselves cease to be the cause of suffering to each other. With humility, with awareness of the existence of life and of the sufferings that are going on around us, let us practice the establishment of peace in our hearts and on earth. Amen. Moments of silence. And now we'll sing 123, Spirit of Life, humming the verse, then singing the verse through our masks.
Karina, could you please turn this mic down a little for me? Thank you. Now it's time for our morning offering. We hope you experience generosity here of spirit, and we need you to respond with generosity. Thank you, ushers.
And I found a choral video for this morning, and I hope you will now be lifted by it.
Images and data from the massive James Webb Space Telescope,
This
providing
is
a
the
first
next
look
video.
at the cosmic mysteries yet to be untangled by the largest and most powerful space observatory. And who better to help us untangle this tonight than America's top astrophysicist, maybe the world's top astrophysicist, Neil deGrasse Tyson, joining us right here in person. Neil, thanks so much for being on Top Story.
Let's do this.
I
Oh
know,
my
I know
God.
this. I know this is your world, and I want you
This
to
is
walk
supposed
us
to
through
be the
our
second,
world.
It's
but
all
listen to
world.
this.
Okay, so let's start with this one right here. Talk to me about what we're looking at.
Your
and-
image is
and-
changing every 5 seconds
Yeah,
here.
so I'm
What-
going to ask our great director, Brett, just to kind of freeze on one, and I think we'll start with one of them here.
Okay,
what
so
are we looking at here?
This is the remnants of a star that has died. The sun will have a fate such as this, where at the end its outer layers of gas will escape into space and slowly drift away. It makes for spectacular, beautiful imagery of when this happens.
When
these
you
are called
saw this, what
planetary
did you
nebulae.
think?
Oh, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we are seeing things better in more detail than ever before. Not only nearby, but far away.
So the red is gas, and the middle.
Yeah,
is
all
another
this is
star?
gas.
Okay.
This is a star that has released this gas into space. But it's called a planetary nebula. It has nothing to do with planets. It's a historical error, actually. But these objects are all over the galaxy, and this is an example of what the telescope can do. All of the structures that you can see all throughout.
Let's see another one of these
Okay,
beautiful
sure.
images that we've seen from this
do
telescope,
it.
and you can walk us through it. This was
that's
the
my
original.
favorite.
This is the original. So this was your favorite because it got a little bit of criticism. Some people were like, "This is it. This was the first one. It wasn't me." But some people.
Bring it on. Okay.
So tell me what we're looking at here.
Okay, so first, we are looking past several stars sitting on our nose in our own Milky Way galaxy. These are the spiked objects that are here. Ignore them.
Okay.
They're just in the way.
Okay.
All right. What we're actually looking towards is a galaxy cluster halfway to the edge of the universe.
Okay.
And it has a very strong gravitational field surrounding it. Meanwhile, galaxies behind it, these that are curved into arc shapes, they're light passing through the universe, minding its own business. It sees this distortion in the fabric of space and time, and it curves in response to it.
There could be-
Einstein predicted this.
There could be planets. There could be another. sun,
These are
stars, anything.
these are entire galaxies of commensurate rank and privilege, such as what the Milky Way is.
And we can't even count them.
And this is just, and you know how big this is on the sky? If you take a grain of sand and hold it at arm's length, the patch of sky covered by the grain of sand is what you see here. So this is just stupefyingly detailed.
I want to keep feeding this. Give me another image
Okay.
here. We can't stop this. Come on. What else?
All right,
what else do
keep
we
going.
have here next up? Let's see what we're seeing here. This is a
Okay.
beautiful one. This is the Carina Nebula.
Once again, the stars that
Okay.
are nearby. Oh, by the way, these spikes occur because of it's called a diffraction
Right.
spike. Light, as it passes through the spider mounting of the secondary mirror, diffracts around it. So there's nothing cosmic about that.
Okay.
It's a hardware artifact within the telescope.
And then these
So
beautiful
this
images we're
is
seeing
an
here.
actual gas cloud, and because the telescope is tuned for infrared, infrared has good penetration depth into gas clouds. By the way, it's the same reason why your fog lights on your car are more red and amber than blue. The more red you are into the spectrum, the deeper into clouds you can penetrate. And when you do that, you have access to places where stars are being born, as well as planetary systems around them.
Are these colors enhanced at all by NASA, or is this what the telescope is seeing?
Okay, you want to go there? We'll go there.
I wanna go
Let's
there.
do this.
Yeah.
Okay, so in your eye, you have red, green, and blue RGB
Right.
sensors in your retina. And what happens is, what we define as visible light is the light that comes through and is detected by these three. Those get combined into a single color image of what you see in your brain.
Okay.
Now, think about that. This entire telescope is tuned for the infrared. You can't see infrared.
Okay.
But what the telescope does is it can take images in 3 different bands, separate bands of the infrared. Then you hand it an RGB and create a color picture, which is the color you
Yeah.
would see if your eyes could see infrared.
Neil
So
deGrasse
it's
Tyson.
authentic and legit.
We thank you so much for joining Top Story tonight. This last one, we got 10
This
seconds.
is my favorite. Okay, this is Stefan's quintet. 5 galaxies go bump in the night. I don't know if you knew that.
I thought there was no sound in space.
Now, you can get that by going to Google and putting in his name, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and new images. I've watched it 5 or 6 times, and I'm hoping one of you will explain some things after the service. But one of our principles is science, and that was a bit of that. I'm beginning this month my 3rd year here in my 2nd tour of duty. I'm not going to call it the second coming because that's kind of a religious principle that I find totally confusing. So I'm in my 2nd tour of duty here. In my prior denomination, it was said that ministers moved every 3 years. It was kind of a rule of thumb. And the thought was, in your first year, you were a new broom, so wow, you walked on water. In the 2nd year, you made some mistakes. And in the 3rd year, well, you got the idea. Then you moved to a new place and got wow again for a year. Anyhow, I'm glad to be here in my 2nd tour of duty. Also, occasionally in the coming year, I would like to invite your questions to work a sermon, for me to work a sermon around. So once in a while, starting with the next time I'm here, I'll be inviting your questions in a coffee can that I'll have a large Q on it. The Q is for question. It's not for that demonic group that's out there. So I would really like you to share some questions that you would like me to respond to in a sermon. If you don't offer any questions, my sermon will be, what's wrong with you? How can you not have questions? But anyway, I'm hoping that could be interesting a couple times a year, not too often, but I'll start with one the 2nd Sunday after I'm back. Speaking of the demonic group that's out there, this is the last I'll say anything about them. Some of you have heard me say this, I just can't get it out of my head. I was behind a good-looking SUV a couple weeks ago, and I saw a big sign on the back, a kind of fancy-made sign that said BLM. So I thought, I don't think that's a SUV in line with Black Lives Matter. For some reason, I didn't think that was it. So I had to pull up close enough to read what the words were under. And the words were, Biden loves minors. And under that, not my pedophile. And all I could think was, wow, that's the climate we're living in. A group is out there that says stuff like that. Now, however you feel about the president, that should be on another planet. If it should be, it shouldn't be at all. Anyway, so my cue will be for your questions, and please start thinking about them, and I will alert you when that's going to be happening to invite you to bring your question, put it in my coffee can, and that'll be my work for the week for the next sermon. Doubt and faith have always been in a close relationship for me. I had a 2-year teen romance with fundamentalism, and a girl or two who were smitten, not with me, but with fundamentalism. A big part of it was memorizing Hebrew and Christian scripture. I committed a good bit to memory. I learned that many people thought that if you memorized it, you knew what it meant. I didn't think that, but I was better at memorizing it than knowing what it meant. I planted seeds in my brain like, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And there were a number of lines that amounted to, "You doubt, you burn." Once I learned I shouldn't doubt. Doubt crept in and stayed. Reading saved me. Like Robert Weston in the back of our hymnal, I'll just read you a few of his lines. Now, Robert Weston was a prominent UU minister. I think Enid Johnson told me that he was their minister for a while. Anyway, back of our hymnal, cherish your doubts. Cherish your doubts, for doubt is the attendant of truth. Doubt is the key to the door of knowledge. It is the servant of discovery. A belief which may not be questioned binds us to error, for there is incompleteness and imperfection in every belief. Doubt is the touchstone of truth. It is an acid which eats away the false. Let no one fear for the truth, that doubt may consume it, for doubt is a testing of belief. The one who really offered me a lifeline was Paul Tillich. He wrote that doubt is evidence of faith. It keeps you asking about faith's meaning and relevance. Faith is for seekers, not finders. The faithful wouldn't put it on a bumper sticker, "I found it." Faith isn't a club to beat others for not looking where you are. Ever since I began thinking about my faith around age 20, faith and doubt cohabited. Many people warned me that education and thinking would ruin my simple faith. They were right. Once I started searching for a reasonable faith, I was doomed to a lifelong journey of dis-ease. And like that ancient mariner who was condemned to stop everyone he met to tell of his life-changing encounter with an albatross, I chose to make a career out of sharing what thinking about faith did to me, or rather how it undid and redid me. A work in progress, I hope. The word that best captures for me the relationship between doubt and faith is nagging. Nagging. When you hear the word nagging, whom do you think of? Should I ask Fred? A nagging relationship between faith and doubt suggests unsettled. And unsettled, unfinished is exactly how faith and doubt have always seemed to me. Then it was my good fortune, depending on one's point of view, to fall in with a bunch of Unitarians. Unsettled, unfinished, you. Now sounds like a terminal condition. So we keep stirring our faith and doubt mix in this, our religious terminal. Terminal has a lot of meanings, like where we are plugged in, how we stay connected, where we have stopped on our journey for respite or to change transport. Terminal has another connotation, but we aren't going there today. Our Wednesday faith discussion, also known as Book Club, began in February 2007 with Marcus Borg's The Heart of Christianity. Borg's point was that Jesus lived and taught a life of compassion. But Christianity turned that into right belief about Jesus. For Borg, Christianity should always have been about a life of compassion. My first book club in a Connecticut church near my seminary was an adult education series entitled Man's Search for a Meaningful Faith. Two fictitious people, a couple, Archibald and Imogene, were looking for a faith that made sense. And they set my course, and doubt has been my guide. And along my meandering journey, I've enjoyed reading existentialist theater. Rightly or wrongly, I thought it raised and didn't answer the question, why are we here? I mention that because the stage on Ocean Boulevard, where several of us will enjoy watching Joe in Much Ado About Nothing, that theater in a few months will put on Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot. Two drifters on a corner waiting for someone who doesn't show up, someone named Godot. And Beckett claimed the first three letters, G-O-D, had no meaning in the play. But it seems somehow like a metaphor for life and faith, waiting on a corner for someone who doesn't show. So on Wednesday morning, since the Borg book, we searched by reading theologians, atheists, scientists, a Carl Sagan book which says we are all made of the same dust we see in the stars. We read and weighed those books for help in our individual searches. A lot of truth quotes ring in our brains. Jesus said, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." Pilate said, "What is truth?" No answer. My favorite poster says, "The truth will set you free, but first it will make you miserable." And so a well-known movie line is, "You can't handle the truth." I'm often reminded of the words of a tortured marriage in Edward Albee's Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? George, played by Richard Burton, to Martha, played by Elizabeth Taylor. With the truth, we don't have much hope, but without it, we are damned. Albee. The truth is, one truth is, religion is not just or mainly the search for truth. Religion, I have been taught, is the language of love and commitment. It's about what we choose to be true for us. We choose it to be true for us, like that young lady that Ronnie reported on. It's about fire and passion, what we love, what we would die for. Now, to die for has become diluted, commercialized. So to die for can describe a Haagen-Dazs flavor like rum raisin. Rum raisin. Or a perfume. But religion around the world is what people will die for and kill for. So religious passion, fire, is pretty scary, but it's part of the definition of religion. My friend John Brown and I are reading and discussing a book by Frederick Meir, Turning Point, Essays on a New UU. He was the prominent minister of the Annapolis UU Church, and some of our folks here have gone there and knew him or know him. He sounds the alarm that UU has just about died in Great Britain. And this is what he cites to prove that. The largest congregation has 160 members in all of Great Britain. 50% of their churches have closed in the last 80 years. The average congregation has 15 members. In 2010, the total number of U's in Great Britain, 3,690 UUs in all of Great Britain. He says 3 generations until extinction in UK. Muir believes we need to rethink what he calls the Emersonian plank of individualism. You is where you can believe however little or much you want and commit to however little or much you want. He says we need to reevaluate that and work toward the ideal we got from Dr. King, beloved community. I tuned into the closing sermon at the UUA GA 3 weeks ago. Remember, I had hoped we could play it here for our sermon, but it was 11 o'clock on the West Coast. Not good for us here. So anyway, the gist of the sermon by a prominent Fort Collins, Colorado minister was what the pandemic taught us. We need each other. We need community. And it isn't just for our feeling good. It is that, and for training in love and justice, confronting powers, especially powers using the front of religion. So Frederick Muir's turning point is that UU in America can't go the way it is going in Great Britain unless we let it. We've got to be here for more than freedom to be us. We've got to be building something and offering the world something that will outlive us. Doubt saved me from the trap that anybody had the only right beliefs. And doubt helped me to see that religion is not really about beliefs. It's about how we live. And if compassion toward self, compassion toward all people, compassion toward nature isn't the point of religion, well, let's stare at those images of the universe. Maybe a light will dawn and inspire us. While we are here, we'll make this why we are here. The closing hymn is number 94, What is This Life? 3 verses, I hope. 94. Is this life, if full of care, no time to stand and stare, no time to stand beneath the house and stare as long as she were house. No time to see when woods will pass, where squirrels hide there in some grass. No time to see in broad daylight, streams full of stars like stars at night. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet, how they can dance. All of this and full of care, we have time to stand and stare. While Ronnie extinguishes, my closing words will actually be the 9th hymn. The hymn is entitled, No Longer Forward Nor Behind. The words, John Greenleaf Whittier. No longer forward nor behind I look in hope or fear, but grateful, take the good I find, the best of now and here. I break my pilgrim staff, I lay aside the toiling oar. The angel sought so far away, I welcome at my door. For all the jarring notes of life seem blending in a psalm, and all the angles of its strife slow rounding into calm. And so the shadows fall apart, and so the west winds play, and all the windows of my heart I open to the day.